All right, party time, Mom. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. That's me. That's me. This hat is on point. This is a different hat I was wearing last night. We got a new steamer. We got a new steamer in the dressing room. Not the dressing room, in the makeup room. I'm taking advantage of it. Let's keep steaming these hats. Bam! Boy, like George Strait. Minus the George and the straight. You know what I'm saying? My friend George, Jorge Ventura.
It's good to be back, sir. It's good to be back.
Good to have you, buddy.
With the last real cowboy of Dallas.
Yeah, it's the last one, the richest one in Texas, too.
You know, Chad, I posted a picture of us, and I posted I was with the last real cowboy of Dallas, and a lot of people got triggered.
They do, man.
Like, oh, he's not the real cowboy.
Yeah, they can't handle it, bro.
They could have handled it. So.
They don't listen. You get woke, you can't joke. That's the deal. But the funny thing is, like, I don't do. I say this. People always say you're a real cowboy. I was like, well, Garth Brooks ain't either. Like, Garth Brooks don't even wear boots. But, he's an entertainer, and people don't ever say anything about that. The difference is I have actually done cowboy shit in my life. And we still have bucking bulls, which, step into my backyard. We got quite the animals around. We got a badass 3-year-old named Political Cowboy. And I'll post videos of Political Cowboy just slinging these boys off, And he's ranked like 3 in the world. He's a 3-year-old. So he's a Derby bull, and I'll say Political Cowboy's tearing it up, and they'll think it's me on the bull getting thrown off because I say Political Cowboy, and they're like, dude, you didn't ride that for shit. No, it's the bull. It's the bull. The bull's the one who's the killer. Anyway, where you been? You been down on the border? You been in Ukraine? Where you been?
Yeah, we were in Yuma, Arizona, checking out some of the border issues over there. We just left Eagle Pass. I just literally got back from Jackson, Mississippi, interviewing the residents over there who have no clean drinking water. They've actually gone with no clean drinking water for a whole week, but they've been on boil water alert for a month. So seeing really the struggles of what they're going through, and
that's crazy because I've seen some of the images of this water in Mississippi.
Being down there, Chad, it looked like something out of like Venezuela. So I was down there for Labor Day, and I was at a basically the National Guard is giving out this clean drinking water in cases, and the lines of cars were just hundreds of cars for hours and hours just lining up just for clean drinking water. It looked like I said, it felt like we were in a third world country, and a lot of the residents there are very angry at state officials, city officials, federal government. They feel like, hey, we have all this money for foreign countries, yet I can't even get clean drinking water here. So this is happening in America in 2022. Americans can't even get.
So
clean
we're
drinking
sending
water.
what $80-100 billion to Ukraine, right?
Yep.
And now people
and we got an extra $1 billion to Taiwan now.
That's right.
Yeah, we're about to send.
We just launched a ballistic missile yesterday, I guess it was. To prove that we got nuclear capability. If we're launching test missiles like North Korea and we don't know what they're going to do yet, surely we've tested enough missiles at this point. That ain't cheap to do that kind of stuff. So we're doing, and that's small potatoes compared to the money we're sending around the world. I don't think a lot of people are sending us money, but again, people in Mississippi don't have water, can't bathe, can't.
And it's a Democrat-run city. The Democrats always want to say that they're the party of the black and brown people. Now we have a city that's run by a Democratic mayor, and now black people don't have clean drinking water, literally. Yeah. And they're extremely upset. Joe Biden hasn't even visited Jackson, Mississippi yet. So those residents right there are really angry, and being down there kind of shows a microcosm of other issues around the country where people feel forgotten about by these establishment politicians who say they care about them. One man that I interviewed said, "Hey, man, our mayor's out, walking around with $12,000 suits on, and we don't even have water here." So,
that's crazy. And do you think Joe Biden's even visited the White House? I'm not even sure if the guy's even been there, actually, much less the border or places where there's a national emergency, or
Well, I agree with Sarah. Sarah was calling Joe Biden a hologram, so I might have to agree with her take that he's a hologram at this point.
We talked about that yesterday. I don't know where Kamala Harris has been.
I'm telling everyone that in politics, I got my money on Gavin Newsom is going to be the face of that Democratic Party coming this new election. Yeah. That's where I'm putting my money right now. And
speaking of nightmares, people are in California. Being told that they gotta turn their power off or turn their power way up, and I'm just I read Eric Swalwell's deal, and I'm like, this is almost like satire here, where the stuff where he's telling people that they need to bump all their stuff up, and I'm like, well, that's real easy for you to say from a condo in Washington D.C. on Capitol Hill, but his thing, I read this thing and I was like, dude, is this parody? when he posted this thing, and I'm pulling it up right quick, he said, "It's time to rally, California. We all need to do our part to help avoid power outages this week. Before 4 p.m., pre-cool your home. After 4 p.m., avoid use of major appliances and turn your thermostat to 78 or higher. Let's keep the lights on, California." That's the 5th largest economy on the globe, California. I mean, number 1 state for agriculture, number 1 economy in America, so one would think.
Right.
And I pointed out yesterday that they're going to have to build 20 nuclear plants just to go with their plan to have electric cars. I mean, if they're going to have that kind of energy in California.
And then Gavin Newsom yesterday posted a video, trying to warn the residents about this. And he's posting this in a sweater in an air-conditioned home.
Ain't that the truth? See?
That was the best part of the video.
I promise you, Eric Swalwell's not keeping his thermostat at 80, and neither is Gavin Newsom.
I guarantee you the French Laundry probably doesn't have to turn off.
Yeah, French Laundry's not turning anything down. The chefs in that kitchen aren't cooking. I mean, personally, they're not cooking. They're cooking, but they're not sweating. So, all right, let's get into this. Here's where I wanted to go. The world's falling apart. We know that. We don't have anybody flying the plane. It's 100% on autopilot, but let's face it, even that's just starting to spiral downward. Kathy Griffin, my least favorite comedian, whatever you want to call her. Kathy Griffin tweeted, you got it right there. So if you don't want a civil war, vote for Democrats in November. If you do want a civil war, vote Republican. Now, on face value, how would you interpret that?
I mean, she's just an idiot. I mean, that right there is actually like true Hollywood white privilege, if you want to say. I mean, to just be able to say something like that. There's millions of Americans who have been cheated out by the establishment Democratic Party who are rejected, and we're seeing that with the Hispanics in South Texas. And then just to tweet something like that is just kind of like it's from her Hollywood castle. Yeah. She doesn't know anyone. She doesn't know anyone in the working class. The only people that she even knows in the working class are probably her maids and her butlers and people who have to serve.
Well,
her.
you saw her follow up too.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that in a second. But I mean, I commented under that tweet that she made, and I said, the last time I saw you this mad, the barista at your Beverly Hills Starbucks got your, as the Beverly Hills barista got your name wrong. But she responded to the overall blue check MAGAs or whatever on Twitter. Put that back up there. It says, you guys, the MAGA blue checks are at it again because they are constantly threatening civil war. They are trying to suggest that I'm the one who is threatening a civil war because, that's my thing. Well, I mean, you are the one who held up an ISIS-style bloodied severed head of Donald Trump. So maybe it is your thing, Kathy. I don't know. You're a freak of nature. And not a, yeah. Anyway, she keeps putting this stuff kind of out there. So she's trying to double down and say, no, what I meant was if you vote Republican, the Republicans are going to start a civil war. Well, typically it's the ones who lose are the ones who start the civil war, right? So it stands to reason that if Republicans win, they're not going to start a civil war. It's the ones who lose that are going to do that. So she's trying to go back around and all this kind of stuff. Even got a pinned tweet at the top of her Twitter page, doubling down on this whole thing. And, of course, then all the Riris come out in defense of her and say, well, that's not what she was saying. Well, I mean, on face value, that's how I read it.
And I mean, now that I'm imagining a civil war, I mean, how would that even look like? It would be, these conservatives against like these genderless people with purple hair.
Yeah.
I mean, how would that even look like in the battlefield?
One of the funniest memes is, the guy that was Jen Psaki's intern or whatever with the long fingernails, the guy in the dress at the White House, who was, we're going to be at the White House and all this kind of stuff, whatever he was, cross-dresser. And I was like, what are we going to wear to the Civil War? Like that kind of thing is the way I imagine that. Where are you going to have the Civil War? I'll tell you who, if you were to have a, quote, civil war, let me tell you who would suffer the most. It would be the minorities. It would be the urban areas. It's the places that already get burned down.
Yep.
Right? So, again, I don't know of anybody who's saying, you know what, let's have us a civil war. We're going to go out there and attack. Now, whenever conservatives or the Trumpies or the MAGA Republicans or the super MAGA or ultra MAGA or the King MAGAs or whatever whatever Joe Biden's calling us today, whenever they see stuff like that, I mean, they basically respond with, I find these terms acceptable. Nobody's going to back down from it.
No.
Nobody's going to back down from it. But again, we just want to be left alone. I mean, true conservatives want to be left alone. They're not after control of anything. They just want to know that their values are being held. Allie Stuckey, I saw her out here in the hall a minute ago. I was reading Twitter this morning. It's a weird addiction, this Twitter. I hate that I like it. I've seriously, this last 2 weeks, Brandon, I've thought about just deleting my account. Just like
like it too much, though, Chad. You like to troll. You like to troll,
man.
Chad,
I just want to.
I think everybody's kind of like that, where they're like, can I please just get banned? Like, please just ban me.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
I don't want to quit, but I just want to be banned.
Yeah.
I want to break my leg so I can sit on the bench. Put me on the injured reserve.
The true civil war is on Twitter, honestly. That's the true civil war is on Twitter right now.
We're too fat to run, but we still have fingers.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting there going, okay, Allie Stuckey, she tweeted something about, if you're saying that, we want to, if we want to save babies, if we want, all this kind of stuff, that rhetoric she was saying, and we don't want you to have gender mutilation of children, and we want to protect the unborn. If that's what you're calling us, then yes, that's who I am. And there was a guy who commented on there and said, you conservatives, y'all have a vivid imagination. I'm like, how can you in any way say that's an imagination? Y'all are the ones that lose your mind over the Roe v. Wade thing. Y'all are the ones who stormed federal buildings over Kavanaugh. Y'all were the ones who, set up the Chaz and Chop zones and did the whole Portland federal building. And so you see the open borders. You see it firsthand personally. You've seen the dead bodies in the river. At what point? And again, everything from all-age drag shows, which is mild in comparison to the other shit they're wanting to do, like, upper surgery, lower surgery on people under 18. So, no, I don't think we're imagining it at all.
And what's interesting, too, Chad, is like, it's been happening with MSNBC. Now we have Hollywood liberals attacking what they call the MAGA extremists or MAGA Republicans.
Yeah.
Is the Democratic establishment created this voter base. We don't get Donald Trump if the country's doing great. We don't get Donald Trump if Obama did his job. We got Donald Trump because we had Americans reject the current status quo in the establishment. So they created what they call now extremists, where you have these people who are saying, well, this Democratic Party is no longer the party of the working class. The Democratic Party is really the class of Hollywood liberals, coastal elites. They can't relate to anyone in the middle, can't relate to anyone that lives in Kansas or Mississippi, or don't want to even step into Jackson. So they created this base that's rejecting them, but now they're extremists. I mean, for Kathy, that's like, to me, it's like I said, it's that Hollywood privilege. She doesn't know anyone in the working class. Like I said, it's probably just her maids and butlers, probably like the only conversation that she has with Hispanics. Exactly. So that to me is the funny thing is them pushing this CRT and everything. They're actually waking up that middle base, like the immigrant class, working class Hispanics who are now rejecting that. And I think we're seeing it in South Texas, but we're seeing it current trend throughout the country right now.
Man. I listen, and I drive down the street sometime. I'm always on the highway. I'm always looking, and I just think about the people who are driving, in traffic alongside me, and coming. I just think about it. It's like, are those people sitting around thinking about the same stuff I'm thinking about? I just tend to think they're not. Right. We tend to think of the politics and the culture nonstop because it's our job in a way, and I just think Twitter's not real life. No. Social media is not real life. These people get on here and everything. I posted something the other day about, always be challenging yourself with new ideas and always be coming up with new stuff and growing from it and all this kind of stuff. And, just talking about challenging yourself. Somebody's got to get on there and say, well, I challenge you to show up in November and vote the people out. And I'm like, why? Why has everything got to be about this stuff, man? Why can't we take a little sip of tequila? Come here, give me your glass. Why can't we take a little sip of tequila, and just chill a little bit, man? Because people have dirty water coming out of their faucets in Jackson, Mississippi, and there's dead children in the Rio Grande. And it's a mess. The country's going to hell. Absolutely.
What we could do is, as the country goes to hell, we'll sip some tequila.
There it is. This is what I was doing, except it was Bonner Private Wine on the night.
We'll ride out the wave.
Yeah, the night Joe Biden stole the election. Look at Jorge. Just took it. Just took it like a man.
It's in my blood, Chad. It's in my blood. I got the tequila in my veins.
Dude,
I got Don Julio running through my veins, man.
Freaking brown people, man. I tell you. Hey, folks, if you want to stock up on some emergency survival food, now's the best time because I'm going to get you some huge savings from My Patriot Supply. But you got to do it now because it's going to end very soon. Preparewithchad.com. Preparewithchad.com. What a great website name. You're going to save $250 on their Ready Hour 3-month emergency food kit. You need to get a kit for every member of your family. Get breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, snacks, desserts, all of it. 2,000 calories a day, every family. Listen, you hear us talking about Jackson, Mississippi. Folks, you're going to need this. You're going to need this. You need to be stocking up your water, your tequila, your whiskey, whatever it is, but you need the Ready Hour emergency food kits as well. My Patriot Supply, you can trust them because they are the nation's largest preparedness company, and they bought in bulk prior to the inflation so that they could pass the savings on to you. They got a warehouse full, and it's going quick. So get the $250 off per kit. Plus, they'll get you free shipping. It'll arrive discreetly, and you need to be prepared, folks. So trust the folks from My Patriot Supply. Go to preparewithchad.com. One more time, preparewithchad.com. We'll be right back. All right. Do I want to talk about Hillary Clinton or Jennifer Lawrence? Jennifer Lawrence or Hillary Clinton? You know, Jennifer Lawrence is charming. She's becoming less and less so. She's easier to look at, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Clinton.
Yeah. Yeah. Way easier. All right. Let's talk about Jennifer Lawrence. So she said that she's having nightmares about Tucker Carlson. But here's what she said on this thing. She said...
she's having wet nightmares, Chad, about...
Hey, dude, man, Tucker, that a boy. Way to work your way in. Dreamweaver. Does he scowl at you, Jennifer? Does he try to figure you out? You know, that Tucker Carlson scowl? Like, let me help me understand something. Help me understand what you're trying to say. So what you're saying is... that's what I just picture going on in Jennifer's dreams. What Jennifer's dreams? But she was talking about her family, and she was in Vogue magazine, and she said, "I just worked so hard in the last 5 years to forgive my dad and family and try to understand. It's different. The information they're getting is different. Their life is different. So, obviously, you know, she's thinking one way, her family's thinking another way. And she's thinking, well, they only get their news from one source. Where do you think she gets her news from? I mean, I don't see Jennifer Lawrence necessarily as being a politico. You ever overheard? I was about to say something's going to get me in a lot of trouble, dude. You ever been sitting there and you just overhear a table of girls talking, right? And one will toss something out, and the other one go, "Oh my God, I know." And it's like, yeah, and they start doubling down on just stuff they don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And look, guys do it too, but go with me. These are girls, because Jennifer's a girl, so we're going to go. She's a mix, whatever. I don't know what we're calling a Mrs. Mix. Anyway, she's a female. Getting in trouble. Jorge's not associated with this. But you just start doubling down on your ignorance. You see people do it all the time. Or you hear them do it. You just overhear a conversation. It's like, you just cringe. Like, that's what I picture happening here. Like, I don't see Jennifer Lawrence out there doing a ton of research on what's going on in the grand scheme of things. I'm not saying she's a dumb person. I'm just saying if I were Jennifer Lawrence and I was worth $50 million, I'm assuming, it's just not going to be where I'm thinking, right?
No. Jennifer's like, oh my God, I can't believe my family members that live in Kansas who are not millionaires can't relate to me here in the Hollywood Hills of my mansion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, also, just like, what is her therapist telling her when she shows up and is like, I'm just having nightmares about Tucker Carlson. It's really,
well, how
making
does
my
that
life
make you
tough.
feel?
What does a nightmare of Tucker Carlson even look like? Is it just like a long monologue for like 2 to 3 hours?
I kind of see a bow tie with a swinging pecker, you know? It's like, well, coming at you. You know what I'm saying? Just big bow ties.
But I do love
she just woke up like in her own puddle. Like, oh my God, I had a nightmare of Tucker Carlson.
Well, and then to say this in a Vanity Fair piece and be like, no, this makes me seem sane.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you, first of all, she's not having dreams about Tucker Carlson, right? That's obviously she's being she's being metaphorical or euphemistic or
And
whatever
who's her
phrase.
PR manager who's like, that's a great idea. Include that in the interview.
I mean, so anyway, she said, I remember a million times thinking about it while I was pregnant. This time, she terminated a pregnancy when she was younger. She's thinking about the things that were happening to my body, and I had a great pregnancy. I had a very fortunate pregnancy, but every single second of my life was different. It could occur to me sometimes, what if I was forced to do this? And so,
geez.
So no, she didn't terminate. She had, I misspoke. She intended to terminate the pregnancy, but she ended up miscarrying. And, so, yeah, I don't, like, you've got to be unhinged to think, like, oh, I'm pregnant, I have a child inside of me, but how would I feel if someone was forcing me to carry this child? That's insanity, right?
Hollywood
That's just
liberals.
not, that's unhinged.
We have to abolish Hollywood liberals, Chad.
Dude.
It's too much now. It's too much.
Dude.
They're too comfortable.
I said to my Hollywood manager and agent, back before COVID, when I was going out there and I was pitching shows to the networks, and just it's cringe to go in there and sit down in those meetings. They're so nice to your face, dude. They're so, but they're so fake. And I kept telling my manager, I said, is there any way, and he had numerous hit sitcoms over the years, but he's a conservative guy, and I said, is there any way to knock this wall down or to at least chip away at the fact that they just have totally barred conservatives or conservative thought or conservative voices in Hollywood? And he goes, there's no way. There's no way. I said, it would take a miracle. I said, but it would just, the whole system would have to crumble. So the fact that we still go to the movies, we still pay for the services, we still, support Hollywood, who absolutely, like Kathy Griffin, I mean,
right.
And then the conservatives who are out there, they can't speak up, or they don't speak up.
Right.
Because they know what's going to happen. It's going to be like Gina Carano, or, Chris Pratt gets just so much hell for just being mild.
Even if he says that he prays, people are just like,
just mild
oh my God,
stuff. Yeah. The guy says, whatever, you believe in God, you must be homophobic. I mean, just the mildest stuff. And I've got some Chris Pratt stories, but I'm not going to tell you because he ain't here. But and I mean, they're good stories, but I'm not going to speak for the guy. I remember him saying, I can't say what he said. I'm not going to speak for the guy. It was good stuff, but it's just, he pointed out, he said, there's certain things I want to be able to do and say I can't do and say.
You can't.
He said, I can't do it because it's going to be,
But you can't support these people, man.
Yeah.
You're supporting people that literally hate you, hate the way that you live life. You don't want your dollars going to these people.
He told the Robertson family, the Duck Dynasty, he's like, man, I wish I could talk about going duck hunting like y'all do.
Nope.
He can't do it.
Can't do that.
He can't do that. So,
you got to walk that line. Man.
It's a horrible thing. And I get it, but I don't get it. I was just never willing to do it. They were after me forever to move to Hollywood. They wanted me to move to LA, and I was like, why?
They wanted Chad to be in their Brokeback Mountain too.
They wanted me to do something.
That's what they wanted, Brandon.
You know what? For the right amount.
Yeah.
For the right amount, dude, I can be bought.
They were like, well, Chad, we do want you to knock down some walls for us, actually.
It was between Chad and Chris Pratt for the role.
Yeah. I saw how he looked into Thor's eyes. I know what was going on there. Anyway, man, it's a crazy thing, but we keep supporting it. In other news, God, I've been trying to avoid Hillary Clinton. Jennifer Lawrence is a pretty girl. But damn. But just bring my excitement down and play that Hillary Clinton clip.
Would you ever run for president again?
No. But I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we have a president who respects our democracy and the rule of law and upholds our institutions.
What if Donald Trump runs again?
He should be soundly defeated. It should start in the Republican Party. Grow a backbone. Stand up to this guy. And heaven forbid, if he gets the nomination, he needs to be defeated roundly and sent back to Mar-a-Lago.
The Florida mansion now in the spotlight after an FBI search for classified documents.
Donald Trump is saying that this search of his home is politically motivated.
Well, I'm sure he would say that.
In 2016, Hillary Clinton was under investigation for her own handling of classified information and questions about using a private server as Secretary of State. Then FBI Director James Comey ultimately recommended Clinton not be prosecuted, but said she and her team were extremely careless.
I had a very different situation where I was cleared and the guy just kept talking and talking and then came up with a new reason to talk some more 10 days before the election.
James Comey.
Yes, and there's no doubt at all that he impacted very negatively my chances of winning. So it was in the middle of an election. There was no there, and the guy never shut up. So I think it's a really different comparison to what's going on here when it appears that the Justice Department and the FBI have been incredibly patient, quiet, careful until they finally apparently thought that national security was at stake.
Yeah, because you could. I've been to Mar-a-Lago. Have you been to Mar-a-Lago? Have you ever been?
Not yet. I gotta go.
Yeah, Mar-a-Lago. It's a pretty secure place, right? Like you don't just go jump in the pool. It's pretty secure. This idea that Donald Trump is just hiding stuff in his closet, these national secrets, and like anybody could just go in there and steal them. But I told Sarah the other day that what they're trying to do is they're trying to make him out to be a spy. That's the narrative now. So if you support Donald Trump, then you're a traitor too. That's where they're going with this. But Hillary says she's not going to run again. You believe that?
Oh, I believe it. She knows that voters hate her. Democrat voters hate her as well.
Yeah.
So I think she's finally accepted it. So
No, I don't believe her for a second. I don't believe her.
Think she's going to run?
Of course. Of course. She wouldn't even call James Comey by his name.
yeah, that is true. She wouldn't even say his name there.
The guy wouldn't shut up. It's like,
She's like that evil monster that just won't die off.
Yeah,
she's
like Robert Francis O'Rourke. But she's got more power. She's got actual power. But the scary thing is, so Monday night, she and Chelsea, her daughter, they were on Jimmy Fallon, and that they've been making the media rounds a little bit. So that kind of makes me wonder what's going on. She's not doing that for her health.
I think she knows that she has a lot of power outside of the White House. She could influence. Like I said, I got my money on Gavin Newsom. The guy's running ads in Texas. He's running ads in Florida against DeSantis. So I got all my money on him. Gavin Newsom was just at the White House a month ago, so he was already measuring the drapes, checking out how he looks in the Oval Office. So
snuggling up to Jill. Yeah. That's true. Oh well, we'll see. Anyway, if there was ever a story that best encapsulated how bad crime has become, it's the one about Starbucks providing baristas with active shooter training because our cities aren't safe anymore. And while the Supreme Court has made it easier for you to conceal carry for protection, it's your responsibility to be properly trained. That's why I endorse iTarget Pro. It's a system that allows you to dry fire practice with your actual firearm anytime in the safety and privacy of your own home. So you don't have to go to the range. You can save money on ammo. Just download iTarget's proprietary app, load the laser bullet into your firearm, and start your training experience. You can improve your muscle memory, reaction speed, sight alignment, trigger control, and everything else you need to be proficient. iTarget Pro comes in all the major calibers, including .223, so you can stay sharp with almost any firearm you own, almost just about pretty much everything, including your AR. So you'll save 10% plus free shipping with offer code CHADI, spell it Chad, when you go to itargetpro.com. It's the smartest investment in your ability to safely and effectively handle your firearm. Plus, it's going to pay for itself almost immediately. That's the letter I. targetpro.com, itargetpro.com, and don't forget, use offer code CHAD. We'll be right back. All right, time to wax eloquent. This ought to be a fun one. Folks, what do you get when you cross one patch of stupid with another patch of stupid of equal size and proportionality? Well, my physics is a little rusty, but I believe what you get is a feedback loop of stupid. It's pretty easy to solve that one. DC Comics, the famed red-headed step-sibling of Marvel Comics, and yes, I realize I just started a war online right there amongst you nerds. Anyway, DC Comics had the temerity to honor Hispanic Heritage Month, which weirdly begins in the middle of this month, by releasing covers to some of their comic books in which superhero characters holding, and I swear this is true, things like bags of tacos and tamales. And to say the least, it did not go well for them. Indeed, even grizzly old guy strumming a banjo and sitting in his rocket chair around the world all of a sudden grabbed whatever part of their body tends to ache, and it said, "Twitter storms are coming, folks. I can feel it in my bones." And indeed, the tsunami of angry tweets washed over DC Comics in predictable and sizable waves as the left went nuclear over people trying to participate in their religious rites in a manner that was, well, let's just say unprescribed. Allow me to read you a couple of these tweets. You ready? Here we go. DC Comics really said Hispanic heritage means putting tacos in their characters' hands, and that's it. This is just weird all around. Here's another one. DC Comics want you to know Mexican superheroes go around doing hero things while carrying a bag of tamales. And what the actual F, DC Comics? How incredibly insulting. My culture is more than freaking tacos and being a server. Hashtag racist. Oh, boy. Now, look, you guys know me. There's nothing I love better than cracking open a beer, loosening my belt buckle, and sitting back to enjoy watching the left eat their own Roman Coliseum style. It's always funny, and it usually has the added benefit of clearing the space a little bit for better and smarter ideas to come to the forefront, if only for a few minutes before shit gets dumb again. But I think it's worth noting at the same time, just how pervasive this screaming to the sky about whatever you're offended about mentality, it just really is our zeitgeist. I mean, look, not more than a few decades ago, the portrayal of other races and ethnicities in the mainstream world and things like cartoons and even comics was something that would give any modern leftist the vapors were their tender eyes to be exposed to it, right? That's what it. Listen, if you don't believe me, drag your nearest lefty friend in front of a computer, pull up YouTube, see if you can find one of those old cartoons where Chinese people were portrayed as having, the buck teeth and a rice hat. Their eyes are going to melt out of their skulls like they just opened the Ark of the Covenant. So now we have the ever delightful phenomenon of overcorrection, way past the time when any correction even might have been needed. Now, personally, as you all well know, I think the sensitivity level about these things is set quite a few degrees above what it should be. Anyway, I can watch a cartoon and not think that all Asian people have buck teeth and wear rice hats, maybe just most of them. See, now what I did right there is called joking. And if you're made uncomfortable by it, you should try it out sometime. See if you like it. Laugh a little, folks. DC stepped in the shit with this one. Not by my lights. I think it's funny. Yeah, in fact, I don't think they went far enough because I didn't see a single oversized sombrero on any of those covers, let alone anyone shooting a pistol in the air. But with the leftist mob they seek to please, they overstep, that's for sure. Here's an idea, DC Comics. Quit the faith, step out of the religion, go back to trying to tell stories that are interesting and maybe even morally uplifting. I know it's hard to recant once you're in, but they clearly don't want or appreciate your efforts. And if nothing else, I want to say that I do appreciate them. I do, because you've reminded me of how very much right now in this moment I want a taco.
That's too good,
dude.
I want that comic book.
You should get it. I want it too.
I want my superhero saving people's lives with tamales, carne asada taco on the side.
Yes.
Flask of tequila.
Yeah.
They come and save you with a bag of Taco Bell.
What's better than that?
I feel like Pepe Le Pew, right? Like just or not Pepe Le Pew, the little what's the little mouse? The little mouse that used to wear the sombrero. Pepe Le Pew was French. Nobody got pissed off about that.
Speedy Gonzalez, man. Speedy Gonzalez was the legend.
Speedy
bro.
Gonzalez. Speedy Gonzalez. Arriba. Ándale, arriba.
They would have his Speedy Gonzalez's drunk cousin. His drunk cousin would always be on the tequila.
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. See, he laughed at stuff like that. I mean, forget that the skunk was trying to rape that cat. Nobody ever talked about him being French.
This is a true story. Speedy Gonzalez actually taught me the importance of the Second Amendment, because Speedy Gonzalez's cousin was a drunk slow mouse, and anytime he would be attacked, he always pull out his pistol.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's right.
Acme taught me about the military-industrial complex.
There you go.
100%. Yeah, and that's where all the dynamite comes from.
Yeah. They're selling the bombs.
And literally nobody gave Wile E. Coyote enough credit for his ability to paint on the side of a cliff. Like the fact that he could just draw a tunnel that just looked like an actual tunnel. It's amazing. The fact that the Roadrunner could run through it. Anyway, I digress.
This is why I don't think we're capable of a civil war, because this is the most we can fight over.
This is what we're working with.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This the cultural appropriation thing. This is the whole deal. And again, yeah. Look, I've seen the Civil War thing. I've seen the news reporters, go to the target range and the gun ranges, shoot the ARs and talk about how frightening it was with the sound and the, all this kind of stuff. It's like,
those are the worst videos.
Not overly worried about you. I'm really not. Oh man. I just think about all the things I used to do in my childhood that is just would blow some people's minds. You ever dynamited fish in the lake? I mean, you take dynamite and put it in a pillowcase, and then you throw it out there, and the pillowcase doesn't sink. So what you do is you take some big rocks and you put them in the pillowcase, and when that dynamite goes off, it'll be raining rocks for the next 30 minutes. These are things you learn the hard way. You just learn the hard way. But anyway.
That sounds fun to do now still.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know. If y'all ain't never shocked catfish or anything like that, trust me, I'm not too worried about we used to set traps.
I want kids to be doing
man.
that stuff, Chad, instead of just being stuck inside all day on an iPad. Like I used to be ding-dong ditching all the time.
Yeah.
Like, go out there, get in trouble a little bit. It's good for you. You grow up.
Look, you've been down the border a ton, right? You see how ingenious and industrious these people are that are trying to get across the border,
sir.
right? If you took the average teenager, American teenager, and dropped them south of the border and said, okay, get back in, they wouldn't know how to do it.
Oh, no.
They wouldn't have a clue.
No clue. I mean, but you take a 7-year-old from Honduras. I mean, they could figure it out. They could survive by themselves. I mean, it's just the kids. These kids these days are just so soft. I mean, especially in our country.
But the sheer fact that we're saying that, if you say that publicly, if I make a comment about Gen Z or whatever online, they get triggered. Well, that's not all of us. Yeah, it pretty much is. I mean, it kind of is. We have become an obese, fat, lazy society at all generations. So just embrace it from what's left of the baby boomers to Gen X, my generation, all the way down. We've just become lazy. We have no we almost have like no Americans in trade schools anymore. I always get hit up by people saying I can't find any men for construction, things like that. We just we have a generation that doesn't know how to work with their hands, and we're gonna, I think, pay for those consequences. Yeah, they don't
if we're not already.
Yeah,
I mean, when you don't have men, working with their hands and finding value, that's why we see a lot of men going crazy, depressed, and
they don't have any purpose.
They don't have any purpose. That's the most dangerous thing in the country.
Oh my. Anyway, I wonder if Eric July has capitalized on the taco covers yet. Like, is he giving? I
do want that comic book. That's a selling point. I would. God, that's funny.
I'm going online, and when we go to the break, I'm going to do a search and see if I could find a way to buy that online, and just see if I can find Superman with a taco. And I don't mean Lois Lane's. Hey, there are a lot of important things in your everyday life. It's a good idea to worry about. You don't really need a new one to add to the list, but I'm going to add one anyway. Home title theft. It's real. It's a growing crime. If you take steps to protect yourself right now, you can avoid worrying about it. Here's how you can find out what the deal is. Go to HometitleLock.com. They've got a special free offer for you, and you simply enter your address for a free, no-obligation home title scan. You'll discover if somebody's already tampering with your home's title. The title to your home is the only document that proves you own it. Once somebody forges your title, he can take out loans on your home or forge your name on a document stating that he's the new owner. Now, make sure your home's title is securely in your name when you go to HometitleLock.com. Then I want you to sign up. Use promo code RADIO, enter your address, and they'll let you know if it's being tampered with. All right, that's a $100 value. They're going to give it to you for free. HometitleLock.com. Use code RADIO. That's HometitleLock.com. Use code RADIO. We'll be right back. All right, Jorge Ventura, what's going on with you? What are you doing?
Doing all types of stuff, man. We just got back. Another border report. We were in Eagle Pass, Texas. The particular reason we were in Eagle Pass is becoming the deadliest sector throughout the whole border. So the reason it's becoming the deadliest is they have the Rio Grande River right there, and we're having constant groups of migrants continue to come in. Current sweeping them away, drowning. About 4 or 5 days ago, a group of 50 got swept away. Then 9 migrants drowned. And I was just down there. I was interviewing the Maverick County constable who was telling me before Biden came in, they were averaging between 1 to 2 deaths by migrants per year. He said now they're averaging 1 to 2 deaths per day. Wow. So pulling out dead bodies, migrant bodies, and a lot of people don't realize the resources local communities have to use. So these bodies have to be pulled into the local funeral homes. They're running out of space. Law enforcement there is essentially being Border Patrol now, so they have to help Border Patrol. They're picking up migrants and everything. So it's a complete mess. It's like I said, it's the deadliest sector down there, and you really see the what locals are going through, all the resources that they get used. Right after there, went to Jackson, Mississippi, interviewed residents who were angry, frustrated, who are going through the water crisis. They haven't had any drinking water for 7 days, but the city has been on boil water alert for 30 days. So literally any type of water, they have to boil it before they clean anything, drink anything. It's a complete disaster there in Jackson. So in a way, it's crazy, Jai, because you're going from a crisis at the southern border, right, involving illegal immigrants. It involves fentanyl, human trafficking. There's a lot of angles to it. Then all of a sudden you go through the South, and then you see Americans going through a water crisis, and it kind of feels like the country's slowly falling apart little by little.
Yeah, it's dismantling. And people, every time you're on the show, people ask about the documentaries. Give me the list of all the documentaries as well, where people can get them.
Yeah, our two main ones right now for everyone is our Narcofornia. We just literally released it, so that one is freshly new. You can watch that one on narcofornia.com or head to dailycaller.com, and it'll direct you to the website. It goes into the cartels in California involving the illegal marijuana operation. That one focuses on Northern California. Last year we did the Cartelville. That's why I came on your show, Chad. We talked about Cartelville. It goes on covers that topic, but in Southern California in the deserts, you got to kind of see that. That one is on carteldoc.com. So check it out. Great cartel films. We also did earlier this year. We did a Hero to Zero. We did a story on all the firefighters and police officers in California who were getting fired over the vaccine mandates. What's interesting now is those counties don't have any vaccine mandates, but those people can't even get their jobs back.
They can't get the jobs back.
We're always trying to focus on ground reporting, trying to tell the stories of what Americans are going through. So I think people follow the work. You'll like what you're seeing, I think.
And people need to be following you on social media as well, because the video clips that you're putting out there are powerful. The stuff you're doing from the border, and it's incredible.
Yeah, Jorge Ventura Report. Put that on Twitter. You could find me, or just Jorge Ventura. I'll pop up there. Like I said, I literally just left Jackson, so we have some fresh interviews from Jackson. You get to see what working class people are going through, what people with kids are going through during this time, and kind of being ignored by politicians. And we have more work coming up. It's exciting stuff.
Now in Jackson, Mississippi, I mean, when you think of Jackson, you think of Birmingham, Alabama, you think about Atlanta, Georgia. These are places where these were focal points of the civil rights movement and stuff like that. And now these urban communities are being hit really hard by this Democrat leadership. It seems like it's a gift that keeps on giving for generation after generation. And again, they want to blame everything except themselves and their very bad policies that are out there. And like you said, Joe Biden is largely silent on this. We're sending $100 billion to Ukraine and trying to arm citizens there while we disarm citizens here and let our own infrastructure fall apart. But by God, let's worship that climate and make sure that everybody gets an electric car. And something you mentioned earlier, and I didn't bring this up, but you talk about these folks out there. They don't understand the working class. The people on the progressives, the Riris, the leftists, the protesters, these guys who don't have a job somehow can fund their ability to go out there and protest or get on Twitter and spam everybody and troll everybody. They're getting funded somehow, and And they want to push everybody being able to buy an electric car. I don't know, but I mean, I just can't run out and buy an electric car today because that's what the government told me to do. But somehow these people seem to think that that's how you are. That's how out of touch with reality they are. People in the urban communities sure as hell aren't going out there and just buying $100,000 electric cars.
I mean, somebody should tell President Biden that Ukraine is located in Jackson, Mississippi, and maybe he could direct his resources.
Yeah, then all the celebrities would go there. I don't see you two going to Jackson, Mississippi, throwing any concerts.
We had all these actors. You had like Ben Stiller flying all the way to Ukraine to meet with Zelensky for his photo op. Where's Ben Stiller in Jackson?
Yeah.
These coastal elites can't relate to anyone in the working class. They don't know anyone, and when these people actually have real issues that need to be solved, they're nowhere to be found. Same thing with like race baiters like Al Sharpton. When I was at the border, Al Sharpton made his one trip down there and said that Haitians were being mistreated. They only do this when they can have a political gain, when they can get clout, but when it actually comes to helping black and brown people, they're never there. And if they keep doing this, they're going to get rejected. I've said this a million times, but you're seeing that in South Texas with the Latino base there. I think you're going to see it in Jackson, Mississippi, with people going to say, hey, we've been voting Democrat. They keep ignoring us. We're going to vote the other way, and maybe that spice something up. But, I mean, even the water is just one thing in Jackson. I mean, you just drive around Jackson, it seems like the whole city's about to fall apart. I mean, their infrastructure is absolutely horrible there. Yeah. But this is an issue that I think a lot of communities around the U.S. are starting to pick up on.
Well, you take these folks who have the resources to get some things done, like going to Ukraine, going to Africa, going to Haiti, see, that sounds sexy, right? That sounds sexy. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go help these less fortunate people in these other countries. Going to Jackson, Mississippi, that doesn't sound sexy. I dated a girl from Jackson, Mississippi, and she was hot years ago. It was sexy, trust me. Jackson was very sexy.
I mean, the South does still make some things pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
the people there are wonderful. I mean,
they are. They're great.
They're like the best. I mean, I'm from California, SoCal, so I'm from an area where like you even say hi to somebody, they'll do a double take and be like, "Wait a minute, are you actually like talking to me?" Everyone thinks they're a superstar in Hollywood, but down there, I mean, everyone is like it's a true, true Americans. People will open the door for you. They want to serve you. They ask you what you need, and that's the type of people that are down there who are being absolutely ignored by these politicians.
And if it can happen in Jackson, Mississippi, it can happen in any town USA. It can. We've got to get these guys out. Their policies are failed just by the sheer fact that they're taking your resources and giving them elsewhere because to them it's sexy.
Yep.
I don't know what other term to use. It's exotic, whatever you want to say, to be able to say, oh, yeah, I did all this work in a third world country. Listen, I pull that card out every now and then talking about my work in third world countries. I do that, and people go, oh, wow, really? I was like, yeah, but I've done a lot of stuff in the inner cities right here in America, too, but they don't want to hear about those stories. They don't want to hear about those stories because, oh, well, you just crossed county lines. You went to the soup kitchen. You went to the food deal, food pantry. So.
And it's a trend, any issues that impact these working class communities, they won't get attended. You won't hear on mainstream media. Jackson, Mississippi is overwhelmingly a black community.
Right.
You're not hearing this too much on the news and like actually having reporters down there. But same thing, you go to Ohio and Pennsylvania, these white working class communities that are impacted by fentanyl and opioids and all the manufacturing jobs that left in 2008. They don't get covered at all. So anything working class related gets ignored because the establishment knows that this is the one issue or the one time where the left and the right could finally agree on something. And when you have that, the establishment will always ignore it.
100%. Y'all hang tight. We'll be right back. Yeah, dude. All right, it's always a pleasure with Jorge Ventura. I'm going to see if I can twist his arm, get him to hang around tomorrow as well, maybe even some overtime. Do not miss overtime. Sign up at blazetv.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad to save on an annual subscription, and do not miss anything, including, every Wednesday night, Glenn Beck's got these really, really important special reports. You do not want to be missing out on those and anything else that's going on from this bastion of free speech we call Blaze TV. So sign up, blazetv.com/Chad. Tell your friends all about it. And do not miss an episode of Overtime that is released every Friday. It is right there in the queue with the Chad Prather Show. So click on Chad Prather Show and it will be in there. I will see you guys in Granbury Friday night, and I'll see you in Waco Saturday night. I'm in Pawhuska, Oklahoma next Saturday night. So get your tickets. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. We're bouncing all over the place, and trust me, it is getting good, folks. You don't want to miss out. Jorge Ventura Reports. That's where you find him.
Yes, sir.
On Twitter. That's where you want to find him. Follow him. We will see you tomorrow night. Stay safe. We love you. God bless you. Talk to you then. Bye.
Oh.